And welcome back, everybody. Thanks for sticking with us. Ed Welsh is our guest. We're talking about all kinds of car things, and he is the right guy to do that with. Ed has been with AAA for 34 years. He's been host of Auto Talk on WIBX for 31 years, every Saturday from 9 to 10. And before the break, Ed, we talked about distracted driving, and distracted driving has really become a big thing now because of the thing you have in your pocket and the thing I have in mine, and that's the cell phone.
Absolutely, and you know it's a growing issue societally, and literally every single day, 1,000 people every day are in a car accident because of distracted driving. And I'm not going to say one thing or the other; just distracted driving itself is involved with 1,000 accidents a day. And 9 people a day are getting killed. And
that could be other things besides cell phones.
That's right.
Yeah.
But the leading cause is the electronic device. Mm-hmm. So one of the things we've done, AAA Northeast, we just produced and released a PSA that's available for law enforcement, schools, any media, anybody wants to put on their social media, and it's called, don't drive intoxicated, don't drive intoxicated. So our new word is intoxicated. Mm-hmm. And for many years we fought the battle for drinking and driving, and it's still an ongoing battle. But if you think, Joe, back in the 70s, people didn't think much about that. A lot of people would go have a bunch of drinks and go drive themselves home.
It's a different time.
It was a different time. We've all heard stories of law enforcement following you home to make sure you got home safely.
Yep.
And if you think about that today's terms, that's appalling to even think about it. So I believe we have to send the same kind of message when it comes to distracted driving, because it's such a big problem. Our PSA starts with a dad in the front seat, and he's got the kids in the back seat, and they're having a good time driving down the road. The kids are fooling around like kids do, and dad's got an open beer bottle in his hand he's drinking. And it's a shocking thing to see, because you wouldn't envision anybody doing that. A few seconds later, the beer bottle morphs into a phone. And that's when you really start thinking about this, and you say to yourself, wait a minute, I need to take a look at this. And sadly, it's a growing problem because everybody's involved with it. I do remember when we passed the law in New York State making it illegal to text and drive or be on the phone and drive. I remember people saying, the law enforcement's not going to find a way to enforce this. And I said, yes, they will. Law enforcement always finds a way to enforce the law. It's their job. And of course, we've had campaigns, we've had different traffic safety initiatives. And the problem just seems to be growing. So what we want to do is go back to what we've done in the past at AAA especially, and that's education, which we've done a lot of over the decades, and that's what we're going to do with this. And this PSA is just an initial start on this process for us.
And if somebody wants to look at it, what do they do? Just go to YouTube?
If they go to YouTube and just type into the search box "driving intoxicated," mm-hmm. they'll find it pretty quick. Mm-hmm. I really suggest it's 30 seconds long. And I believe if you watch it, it'll leave you an impression on you.
Right around the corner is back to school, Ed. I know when you've been on here at the beginning of winter, you talk about how people have to change their driving patterns and things that they do because of the snow and ice. What do people need to do for back to school?
Well, I think the first thing we have to do is recognize we're going to be seeing those school buses soon. We do see them sporadically in the summertime, but not like when school's open. So I think what happens a lot of times in the summer, people tend to maybe drive faster in the school zone than they normally would. Obviously, they're not planning their route to work knowing that the bus is going to be there because it's not there. So I think what happens is we begin to maybe leave home a little later because we're not going to encounter maybe a school bus. So let's face it, everyone wants to get to work on time, but mm-hmm. not too early. So I think the first order of business is to put your hat on and say, okay, when the school opens, I got to adjust my schedule and make sure I leave myself enough time to get to work. Number 2 is obviously the concept that the buses are back and not to pass them. It's amazing to me that people still pass school buses that are offloading kids and want to put themselves and the kids at risk like that. But again, it's not as big a problem as it used to be, but it's still a problem out there.
Didn't I read somewhere, Ed, the other day, and I don't know if it's New York State or somewhere else, where they were talking about putting cameras
yes.
on school buses.
AAA has been a proponent of this, and that initiative is currently languishing in the state legislature. Mm-hmm. Hopefully we can move that forward. We got a lot of traction on it last year, ran out of time in the legislative session, and we'll be back at it this year.
So if, under that proposal, if a car passes a school bus with flashing red lights, a picture would be taken of the license plate, correct?
Correct, and
Okay.
you'd be hearing from law enforcement. Not a good idea.
Yeah.
For a lot of reasons, but most importantly is to put kids at risk. And that's the main thing. Between 3 p.m. and 7 p.m. when school opens is the most dangerous time of the year for kids when it comes to being a pedestrian hit by a car. Because let's face it, they get back to school, they're excited, they're running around, and we're not used to seeing them out there. So really the whole Schools Open Drive Safely campaign, which is in our 74th year, really is about making the public aware that this is occurring, that we need to pay attention to it. But obviously slow down, pay attention to intersections, recognize that maybe the drop zones for school buses in your neighborhood might have changed. As kids move in and out of the neighborhood, sometimes they move where the buses park. As a parent with kids, know where the kids are going to go. Try to instill upon your children not to run behind cars, cross at the intersections, pay attention to intersections. And, again, this is a learning experience every year for kids. And most importantly is watch out for bicycles. A lot of kids take them to work, or to school rather, and again, when they get out of school, kids are very happy when they get out of school.
Yeah. Does AAA, we've only got about 10 seconds left, does AAA do anything for Halloween?
Yes, we do.
Safety program?
We have a AAA Halloween safety program, which you'll be seeing in September.
Why don't you come back and talk about the Halloween, and you talk about that, we might as well talk about getting ready for winter at the same time.
We can do that, Joe.
All right, thank you, Ed. Always good to see you. That's going to do it for us this week. We'll be back next week. We'll do it all again. Don't forget cnyhomepage.com. Lots of good stuff there. Until next time, take care of yourself, everybody.